and welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera, and I'm joined, as always, by my two repressed co-hosts, Katie.
Hello.
And Livy.
Praise him! Praise him!
It's a she.
Yeah.
You're misgendering Calliope now? Just when you got Argo straightened out. Very consistent.
But you know what? This whole thing with Calliope is really, really weird because Calliope is not the muse of dance.
Right.
It's Terpsichore. So I feel like they mismused Calliope. I'm gonna misgender her.
Who are the muses? Why are there two?
There are 9 muses.
No, but why are there two in the title?
Oh! Well, I was wondering if it was... I was actually very intrigued to read an interview with Gillian Horvath, who's the writer of this episode. Not to spoil
Oh my god, we didn't even
Vera.
get to... Like, what is this episode?
We're just
we don't
diving
even know.
right in. Just diving. But she mentioned doing all this research about muses, and by name... Like, she name-checked Terpsichore.
So those are
So
the second
I
muse.
have a feeling the muse in the original version of the script was Terpsichore. They thought, praise Terpsichore! Didn't have the same
Didn't
ring.
sound good.
Changed it to Calliope, and then had to make the title of the episode Tale of Two Muses, because they did sort of have two muses.
Wow. Now, do you guys think that the centaur Calliope's mom was really obsessed with Calliope? Or was she Calliope?
Maybe his mom was really into rhetoric and epic poetry. I think
Maybe.
those are the two
Or maybe
things.
she was into dance?
No, Calliope don't do dance.
Well-
She's the muse of not dancing.
Okay.
As we learned from this episode.
All right. So, spoilers, this episode is 406, A Tale of Two Muses.
It would be really funny if it were just something else entirely, and we just talked
Yeah.
about this for no reason.
We have already begun swimming in this episode, so why don't we continue? This is written by Gillian Horvath, as you mentioned, Olivia, and directed by Michael Hurst.
Hello.
This
Hey,
is
Mike.
Mikey's second
Mikey.
episode.
Mikey Hurst.
Good old Mikey Hurst.
Yeah, this is his second one. He's, he's getting there.
How would you describe his directorial style?
Not there yet. What I mean is, like, he's gonna become my fave, like, by season 6.
Oh,
Like,
so you
not
would
there
describe
yet.
his style as your fave,
But not yet.
but in the future.
No, I mean, like, there's, like, A Day in the Life is amazing.
A
So
Day in
there's
the
nothing,
Life, yeah.
There's nothing,
He came in
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, he came in very strong. I mean, this was just, this is this episode, so.
I feel like his episodes have a certain familiarity. Like, they have a certain coziness. The
Yeah.
cast always seems really relaxed.
Well, yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
very.
probably because they hang
This
out.
one.
Very
Yeah.
extra relaxed.
But, I mean, Day of the Life, that's
Yeah.
maybe the ultimate in just loose Lucy.
Oh my goodness. So, this episode begins with a nice walking scene of Xena, Gabrielle, and Argo in, like, a desert setting.
They
And
are not actually in
They
the
are
desert.
not actually there. They are in the studio.
Yeah, this entire episode is shot in the studio.
Oh, really? I'm shocked.
They didn't fly them to the Sahara just for this opening scene.
Yeah.
They're just walking in front of a screen.
Well, I liked what Michael Hurst said about it being super real. Like, that's what he called it, where it's like so real, it's super real, and it looks like
Not
West
real.
Side Story. Like, he's going for like a 50s dance
That I see.
thingy.
I see it. It has that kind of airless quality where
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, I don't get his, so real, it's not real. I was like, dude, it don't look real.
I just don't understand why they even had that intense conversation about it. Like, it's like one scene outside. Everything
Well-
else was just dancing inside of a village set.
Vera, you may not be aware, but they shoot in New Zealand. So
Okay.
that's a big selling point in the show. It's very rare to have an episode that's shot entirely on a soundstage.
I'm like, it's fine. This is a silly dancing one.
This is a silly dancing one.
Yeah, I like it looks hot. I don't know. I don't have a
They
problem with
probably
it.
were hot. Them studios.
Didn't strike me as a horrible thing to start with.
It's fine.
I
with
like
me.
this scene a lot. I think we
Yeah,
talked
the
about
scene is
the
great.
content of
So
the scene.
they're walking, and Gabrielle is reading a little bit from her scroll to Xena. So she goes, "The despair of winter is followed by the hope of spring." So guess what, guys? George R.R. Martin stole it from Gabrielle.
Holy shit.
I couldn't get past the hope of
Oh,
spring.
no.
Sometimes it just happens.
Gabrielle wrote that.
Wait, before we get too
Oh boy,
far.
we just started.
No, this is not my normal wait.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I got two things.
It sounded
though.
just like your normal
I know,
one.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm just like, I just want to get this out of the way. A Tale of Two Muses, and it has nothing to do with A Tale of Two Cities, generally speaking, or do you kind of just have to stretch it to be about something political?
I guess, but I feel like even the political resonances in this episode don't really map onto.
So it's just a play on the.
Yeah,
on
where's
that.
the
Okay.
Well, maybe if they cut off the magistrate's head at the end.
Yeah, then it would be.
Whoa.
then it might work. That's why I feel that the title was an afterthought, because it just doesn't match, really.
Guys, most of the times they just do
They
funny
just slap
titles
it on there.
that are
It's fine.
just like.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
I gotta cover all the bases.
So, do you guys think Gabrielle is a bad writer?
No, is Germ a bad writer? Or Martin, that is.
I like the running gag on the show that she is.
Yeah, I like it very much. I like her overwrought purple prose.
But
Seemed
I don't
fine to
think
me.
that she's a bad writer at the end of the day.
So, are you saying that her character arc is that she becomes an awesome warrior, spoilers, and an
What?
awesome writer? Like, her writing slowly improves?
She wrote this show that we're watching.
That's true, which is
very
sometimes
good.
well written.
I mean, she didn't write the show, but the show was made based on her scrolls, which are really good.
Well,
They must be.
you can definitely improve things in adaptation.
Yeah,
that's true.
Her
Could
storytelling
be shit.
instincts might be really good, but her use of language
Right.
is so terrible.
I feel like that might be it.
Okay. What's the second part, the end of her sentence there?
Life's brutal truths are softened by its tender mercies.
That's when Xena smells her armpit.
Okay, so I thought that moment was funny because she smells something bad and she turns around and
It's
looks
Gabrielle's prose.
she looks at Argo first and it's like, oh my god, did Argo fart? And it's like she does like a
Argo
hand.
never farts.
Because
Okay,
Argo's a girl and girls
don't fart.
And so she kind of
Excuse
waves
me,
her.
we just learned that they really do a lot of
too. That's why Xena continues this, and it seems like she's like, "Oh, is it behind me?" And then she just smells her armpit, and she's like, "Yeah, it's me."
I like these holdovers from In Sickness and in Hell. I like that even though that episode is over, Xena is still gross.
Yeah, they're keeping that one.
It sounds like Michael Hurst put those in, I'm sure, with Lucy's enthusiastic goading.
So Xena likes what Gabrielle wrote, and Gabrielle is surprised about that. She also pops a hole in her boot, right then.
No.
And there's a little sound effect for that.
Yes, there
What
is.
did it
I like
sound
how she's all
like?
hot and stuff.
Oh,
They're all
no.
really.
Yeah, they're hot.
She's
That's an explanation for why Xena smells bad.
I know,
as if
but
we
I
needed
like
one.
her acting, just being like.
Well, I like
in
the
other
boot
lines of living.
continuity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, literally, I didn't even realize how badly her boots, they constantly break.
Yeah.
It's weird. Gabrielle says, my writing has allowed me to express my most inner feelings. I don't know how I'd survive without it. I wish you had something like that, Xena. What does Xena do, guys?
She says she does, and it's her chakra.
Yeah. She's like, I got this, and whips it out. It's really good.
Which makes me think back to our early reading of Xena's chakram as her vagina, which makes that line very strange that she expresses her innermost feelings via her badge.
Or we could talk about that post on Whoosh that calls this the most important scene in all of Xena Warrior Princess.
Elaborate.
Where we are talking about, where Gabrielle and her, writing and her expressing her feelings, and then the symbolism of the chakram is like this circular violence thing, as what Gabrielle then calls, perfect for Xena as her expression of her feelings.
This episode does have some interesting subtext, not that kind of subtext, but interesting subtext about, well, it does have the other kind of subtext, but not to derail me, it has interesting subtext about this idea of self-expression through violence. Seeing Xena train the teenagers in what looks like some kind of martial discipline that then turns out to be dance. And you feel that all of Xena's dancing is basically just her fight choreography. That's Xena dancing. That's Xena expressing herself, her innermost feelings.
Right.
So her whipping out that chakram is the honest truth. That is how she communicates.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So Argo needs some new shoes, and obviously so does Gabrielle. So they decide to go into the next town and get that done. Cut to a close-up of some shoes, or their sandals, really, and they're dancing.
Oh boy, I'm very excited.
Who is dancing? It is Tara, right? I don't remember. It's not Tara. It's Tara.
No, she's Tara.
Okay.
Tara.
Tara is back. Welcome back,
Sherry Appleby.
And
her wig.
Yes, it's fucking back. She has now developed a new passionate love for Dons. But,
no, it's not
but
new.
It's not new. But it is.
Retcon. She calls it her most favorite thing, which I thought was super cute. It's my most favorite thing.
I know, yeah. A couple times she still reminded me of the Tara that
Tara.
we know. Yeah. Not the Tara that's been changed by Dons forever.
My interview with Jillian Horvath.
You interviewed Jillian Horvath?
Makes it sound like I interviewed her. But that interview that I read and now claim is mine, she said in it that she does not like Tara. She is not a fan from Forgiven. She thought she was very annoying.
Right.
By design.
I think very divisive amongst all viewers. This character.
Yeah.
Yeah, including viewers who freelance write for the show.
Yeah.
And I do think there has been a remarkable personality shift in this character. Even though she does, I think maybe once or twice get to that petulant place, in her voice, that, Forgiven was just at most of the time. She's much softer here immediately.
But she was in that episode, Forgiven, with Xena and Gabrielle, so she should be a little different.
Learned. She had some life lessons. And
Yeah.
I actually really like the new context in which we find her in this town with this kind of adoptive dad.
Yeah. Nice dad.
She did the whole found family thing.
Right.
She left behind this fractured life and now has finally found a place that has accepted her. Except the one caveat is that they don't allow dance, which is her most favorite thing.
It's her most favorite thing. And it's a very good outlet for her, rage, her teenage rage.
So, I love that it starts with the close-up of the feet, because here we go. This episode is straight up a ripoff of the 1980s classic film starring Kevin Bacon, Footloose, which
What?
everybody knows.
Are you serious?
Do they?
And
Do they all
They
know
do
it?
all know. And I think it is unclear because of the way we're talking, but I'm going to say something right now. I really like this episode a lot.
Of Xena.
I really
Yes.
do. Yes,
I
of
like-
Xena.
I like it also.
This episode of Xena.
It's okay.
I really,
It's fine.
really like it. I think it's just so nice and so much fun. And I also love Footloose. And I also love dancing. So there you go.
I'm ambivalent to dancing. I haven't seen Footloose, and when asked about it in the preparation for this episode, I was like, is that Flashdance? Or,
Oh my
or
God.
what?
There's a huge
Are
difference.
there two movies, both with F
Yes.
At the beginning that are
also
both
Fame.
about dance.
Fame, yeah.
Oh, Fame. Fuck. Why all the F's in the dancing movies?
I don't
The
know.
80s.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Full of blow.
Anyway, I haven't seen any of these movies, and I still think this episode is super cute, and that was a good cocaine joke.
Thanks for explaining. The movie starts with a bunch of feet in the opening title sequence, which is really super cute, and I always like that. And I like that this starts with some little feet.
Okay.
What did you think of their first dance here, Katie?
Her and the guy.
Her and the guy.
Her and hot-ish man.
Andros.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
I thought it was interesting because, like, I wrote in my notes, like, this dance is not sexy, but then later they actually do have a sexy dance.
Yeah, that one is better.
And I was like, oh, you know, this episode is probably aware. Like, the shock here is that they're doing this dance that isn't all that sensuous, but then the magistrate comes in and is all horrified by it. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, you know, you gotta save the sex till later. You should be like, what? It wasn't even a sexy dance.
But
why are they being arrested?
Well, it was really interesting because they're like in a, you know, like it seems like a parking lot, like a town's parking lot, like behind
the town parking
behind
lot.
some kind of like abandoned warehouse. But like here, it's, you know, its own little private village area, like on some sand, and it's like ruins around them, which I think it's like the old the hall that burned down. I think, right? That's what it's supposed to be. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
60
didn't
years,
understand.
there's
Yeah.
no dance in this town because 60 years previous, after some kind of dance, a fire like ruined the village. And after that, they banned dance, which is similar to the plot of Footloose, which is when John Lithgow and the town banned dancing.
It's hard to say. Banned dancing.
After
They banned it. They banned the dance.
an accident that you find out later was responsible for the death of his son. And the whole time in the movie, you're it's more about religion, and he's the reverend, and it's this, like, you know, horrible thing, dancing, because it's, you know, immoral, and it, like, leads to men and women dancing together, which leads to more bad things.
Right, because dancing is a vertical expression of what you want to do horizontally.
Ooh, I like that explanation.
But really,
what happens
it's like,
when you break dance?
I don't know. It's kinky.
Then it's a horizontal version of the thing you're doing.
It's not quite horizontal. That's the thing.
so that's a big part of the movie and a big part of this episode. And then also, like, yeah, but you find out later at the end that there's a lot of, like, personal stuff involved with the banning of dance as well. But there's a lot in common with these two, the themes of these episodes and movie.
I just thought it was really interesting that this dance hall seemed to be, by the, you know, matte paintings of their special effects, like on the edge of a cliff. And then the town itself was a ways away.
I don't know.
So wait, you're saying that this freak dance hall massacre occurred at the edge of the cliff?
Yeah, it just seems like, yeah, because it's like these towns kids right now, they're all like just in this abandoned place. Like I want to call it like an abandoned warehouse, and they're dancing illegally, and it's
You
like,
have to drive to, like, the faraway bar where it's allowed.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of like that analogy. Yeah.
So
We do have to think of this as being like a Middle Eastern version of a little pokey Midwestern town.
Right. Oh, can we, like, touch upon the fact that where are they?
Yeah, where are they?
they are somewhere where
They
it's
mention
sand.
Oman at
Right.
one point, so we assume
Autolycus does.
they're somewhere in the Arabian Peninsula or
Which
thereabouts.
makes sense, like, their journeyings this season. But then there's, like, episodes in between where I feel like I don't know where they are.
Well, their clothing as well point to
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Becomes
Anyway,
more-
I feel like they, like, are going a direction and then, like, might go backwards and then come back again. I don't know what's going on. Who cares?
They
can go where they
wanderers,
want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
wandering in the general direction of India in their vaguely ancient times.
Oh, right, that's where they're going.
Very imprecise.
Oh, yeah. That's what that's what I meant.
Makes sense.
They're working their way over.
Well, why do you guys think they chose something vaguely Middle Eastern for Paleos, the town full of people on the paleo diet.
Because it's just on their way.
I personally think there's more to it than just that.
I'm not ready to put any coins in yet.
Okay. I'm not saying that we have to put coins
Yeah, go ahead.
But we're talking about a repressive religious / political regime in a Middle Eastern town, and the clashing of these forces of, modernizing and progressivism with the idea of preserving your traditions. Like, even though this is clearly all taken from not Flashdance, Footloose, these ideas of, like what many people in small Midwestern towns
Footloose
have to
is a
contend
true
with.
story, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
The town that banned dance.
Yeah.
Yep, that definitely sounds like a thing that has happened.
That America would do.
Yeah. Thanks, America. But I think it's kind of interesting to map the conflict of this small town between tradition and progressivism, and then take it to the Middle East and just kind of do it the exact same way without comment.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think this deserves a coin?
It's one of those things where I'm like, it probably does.
When in doubt.
But at the same time, it's interesting, and we can continue to talk about it as trying to do something interesting.
All right. Well, they catch them dancing, right? The magistrate comes in. He is dressed like a...
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah,
he looks like...
super distracting.
He's a Middle Ages condom.
Yes.
That's what he is.
He looks like a condom.
I don't understand it. Someone explain, please.
So he is like, oh my God, scandalized because there's dancing. And he wants to take Tara in for punishment. And I like that she like rolls her eyes at that point, because that was like a little hint of old Tara. But the punishment is hardcore. It is just like whipping her in the middle of the town square.
Because she's broken the goddess law, which
Right.
is how they refer to it here. Mm-hmm. Makes it sound very sinister, but also slightly confusing.
So yeah, and so when they parade her out to do the punishment, she has a change of clothes, right? They put like women's garb on her and like a little thing to cover up her hair, which I thought was interesting.
I think they did that because otherwise Xena and Gabrielle would have come into that scene, took one look at that wig and been like, it's Tara.
Wrong. They don't realize that because she definitely has it off at one point, and they don't. And I literally have a note being like, how could they like not?
Not as soon as they saw that like bushy fringe springing free, they should have just been like, Tara.
I know. But I thought it was interesting that whenever she was like, presented as a good townsgirl, she
has to be completely
the hair is
covered up.
covered up. Yeah.
Again, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put coins in the jar, but there are these subtextual underpinnings here for sure.
Xena and Gabrielle enter the town, and they hear all this rhetoric about Calliope, and Gabrielle is like, it's interesting that they're worshiping Calliope all the way out here.
Yeah, right. Which was the first, sometimes you have these Xena episodes where all the characters are kind of mysteriously in clothing that kind of places them somewhere, and you're like, are we still in Greece? They're still talking about Greece, but they don't look like they're in Greece. Here, it seemed like from this dialogue that Gabrielle thinks they've left Greece.
They were in the desert at the
They
beginning.
were.
A second ago.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the deserts of Greece.
So Tara gets sentenced these 10 lashes, and the magistrate instructs his henchman, Lycanus, who can get it for sure for me.
He's a brother goon from In Sickness and in Hell. So could Brother Goon get it?
No, he is not.
He 100% is.
Brother Goon could not get it. What?
Just what a little bronzer will do.
Oh my God, no, I love the beard and the, headdress. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Brother Goon could not get it.
You're going to have to take a second look at Brother Goon.
No, I will not. Well, look at this, can get it. So he's told not to spare his arm, and he's about to swing it when Xena comes in and kicks his whip away, and she has a line, "That's not nice." And that's terrible.
That is terrible. What did you guys think of Gabrielle?
I don't like it. I hate it.
What's her
She
line?
was ready.
Oh, save some for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
What the
no.
fuck is that all about?
It's awful. And she pole vaults onto the like little stage
I mean,
area.
she is kind of like a grump this episode, but like also, I don't. That doesn't make any sense for her to say.
Yeah.
Is she really a grump?
Not
She's
a grump,
all full
but like
of dance.
Well, not like that, but like
She's repressed.
not in the dancey parts, but in her conversations with many people. There's like a quality to her, like not in, like kind of antagonizing to
I feel like
people.
that's a thing Gabrielle sometimes does. Is she's
Okay, but I just felt like in this episode, it just seemed like maybe she was so hot at the beginning, you know, like cranky.
She was very hot, yeah.
Like there's a like a not that's just the wrong word, but there's just something a little harsher in her interactions with a lot of people.
To me, save some for me.
I think
just
she's
sounded-
frustrated by the dancey town.
Yeah, to me it just sounded so like generic. Like it just sounded like cue sidekick line. Whether
She
or
never
not,
has sidekick lines.
Right.
That's what's in the. I
Yeah.
mean, that's maybe.
She doesn't really
'cause it's a
enjoy
freelance
jumping
writer.
into the fray to hit people in the way that Xena likes to hit people and has fun.
I just feel like she's never like she just like pole vaults in onto there. She's just ready. She's like eager, like salivating for some
Yeah,
ass to
action.
kick.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's weird.
Yeah.
that is I think that in and of itself is pretty weird.
So will they fight all these goons that turn out to be the city's like militia, but they don't know that yet. And Xena does a really annoying like upside down stooge move.
Oh yeah,
Where she like knocks two dudes' heads, into each other.
and like runs
Yeah.
up a wall, right?
Right, yeah.
I like the running up the wall part.
Yeah, but then I was like, no, stooge, stop. And then, so like, literally only when they free Tara's bindings, because she's like tied to a post, but like facing backwards, obviously, 'cause she's gonna get whipped. Only once they like free her and like turn her around does Xena go, Tara? Because again, her hair should have really given it away.
Did they have this whole business with the reveal that this is someone that Xena and Gabrielle know as a way of just being like, audience, in case
Remember
you don't
Tara?
know?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's very noticeably, I don't know, not necessary, especially because they've just barged into this situation
Yeah.
to save her. Wouldn't it, their barging in have made more sense if they had actually noticed
Yeah.
that this is someone they knew? Then you wouldn't have this troubling idea that they just walk into whatever is going on in the middle of a town square being like, local militia, please stand down.
So the magistrate is named Istefan, and Xena says, call off the lynch mob, and that's where Istefan's like, no, that's the militia. So immediately Gabrielle's like, Tara, what did you do?
Oh my
Because
God.
she's like so on her, on her ass again.
She's victim blaming.
Yeah.
Jeez, guys.
Because it's like classic Tara.
I mean, to be fair, it is classic Tara.
And Istefan's like, she committed a crime so insidious, we must punish it quickly and severely. Gabs is like, that's
My
great, Tara. You really messed this up.
See, she's really
You're
just
right.
pissy.
But
I
that's just
somehow
her and
tuned it
Tara.
out.
That's consistent.
Yeah.
going.
I mean, Forgiven
I'm telling
was
ya.
pretty brutal for Gabs.
Yeah, it was. And now it's my favorite where Istefan goes, she danced.
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 Dance?
Danced.
Dance?
It's really good.
And then, yeah,
Dance.
that's so
That's the
dramatic.
cue for the
That's
credits.
Exactly.
It's so dramatic.
dun.
A nice man comes up, and that is the father of, what was his name? Andros.
Andros.
Yeah, the boy who was dancing with Tara before. And he suggests that instead of this severe punishment, surely they could just be banished. Or like Tara could be banished from
I
the town.
love the dad.
He's so
Telemon.
great, yeah.
He just has such a lovely face. Like, I honestly just instantly fell in love with him. You just immediately, like, are drawn to this character.
Yeah.
There isn't that much we know about him, and it's very obvious where, like, his character arc's gonna go as soon as you get a lay of the land here. But it's good. It's a good face. nice guy. I'm glad Tara has found herself such a nice, new dad.
Yeah. So Tara says goodbye to them, and they leave.
I like the way he's like, sorry it didn't work out. I really loved your store. Very, very interesting. Like, what is the store? What was she doing?
I mean, it seems like it's like a butcher store.
Maybe she swept the floors.
Yeah.
The dirt floor.
I buy it. And it didn't work out for sweeping.
No, yeah. So anyway, they leave, and Tara catches up Xena and Gabrielle on the town's history. And that's where we find out that it burned down 60 years
it
ago.
Footloosed, we'll just say.
It footloosed. She gives this big emotional speech about how she feels like she has to go back to the town because she loves Andros and Telamon so much. They're like the first nice men she's ever met in her life. But they live in this town where you can't dance. And it just sucks because dancing is wonderful. And it turns out that Tara is really good at dancing. And
She's the Kevin Bacon.
Oh,
of the
surprise.
episode.
Surprise. Can you play 6 Degrees of Sherry Appleby?
Probably, but I don't want to do it right now.
One of my favorite lines from Tara is, she's like, look, I can't throw a chakram, and I don't like staffs, but I can dance.
My favorite part of that is the actual twirl that she does to prove that she can dance. And I was like, okay.
I guess you
Okay,
can. What's wrong with staffs? Why doesn't she like staffs?
She says she likes to throw them in the fire, remember?
That's true. She did have a vendetta against that staff.
She's from Thebes, so she's like from the big city, like how Kevin Bacon was from Chicago, and he would like go to all these like, she made money doing like street dances and stuff, and like he didn't make money dancing. But like he was like a gymnast, but like also went to all these clubs and stuff and danced all the time. So
that's street dancing.
And after being like just told he can't dance so much, there's like this incredible sequence of crazy dancing / gymnastics through a factory of some kind, which yeah. Oh, it's so good.
You know you're watching a great movie when its action can be described as dancing / gymnastics.
It is, because he's a gymnast.
So Gabrielle is very sympathetic to this story of Tara's about the town. But she says to her, you know, like, going back isn't going to help. Like, I know from experience that these people in small towns, like, they don't change. And you realize that she's talking about Potadia. That's pretty harsh. Mm-hmm. It makes you wonder what Gabrielle has ever tried to change in Potadia. What's the equivalent of dance in Potadia?
LGBT rights.
Probably.
Xena decides that they're going to help because Tara's her little twirl just like convinced Xena. So they're going to go back. Now
we have to go back.
We have to go back, yeah. And now in the village, Istefan is preaching. And so said Calliope, first among muses, and none shall dance before me, nor in my house, nor in my temples. We must preserve our traditions. Xena agrees and marches Tara back into town. She says that Tara wants forgiveness and to stay with Telamon and Andros. And Istefan agrees to grant her mercy.
But only if Telamon and, I guess, Xena watch over her and make sure she realizes that dancing is evil.
Now it's nighttime.
Wait.
Yes.
This is where Xena makes that face, like Gabrielle like laughs, and then Xena's like meh at her. It's like super random, kind of.
But super important.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Well, I think
Everyone else does, even if
course.
you don't.
Yeah, of course. But I just wanted to get to the next scene, which I think is super important.
Yeah, this scene is super important.
They could have stayed in the store with Telamon.
Yeah, but they chose to go back to the abandoned warehouse.
Maybe the store doesn't have plumbing like this cave does.
Gabrielle is setting up their bedrolls and is like, yeah, we're totally used to rubbing it, don't worry about us. And after everybody leaves, you just hear this, like, flush.
These people are married. She's just back there, like, pooping. Gabrielle's dancing around in front. What the hell?
Okay, but
Yes.
We all know from Dana Scully that the invention of the flush toilet was done by Tom
Tom
Scrapper. It's not now.
Xena did it first. Xena did it first.
It's not now. Woo.
Oh my god.
Oh, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. Also, Xena hates fried food.
No,
Makes
I don't
her
know about this.
Have the poops.
That might be a coin in a jar.
I think it is.
Moment.
Listen, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I liked it.
I mean, I don't like it.
Especially because we know Xena gets the runs a lot.
Please.
For all sorts of reasons.
Please, no. Stop.
We're not doing that episode again.
Gabrielle.
You are, though. This episode is secretly
Oh my
that
God.
other episode. It's
Can't-
trying to poop you. It's trying to sneak poop you.
Stop dancing.
Gabrielle, yeah, she's moving her body like
She
the Sia
says.
song.
Yes. She says that ever since she heard the town band dancing, she can't stop. Which is kind of a little commentary on, like, you know, the more you ban things and make them illegal, the more people might be interested.
And she says, it just feels so good.
What's this scene about?
Oh my god. She lays down because she's like super frustrated because Xena's like, go to bed. And she's like, ay, ay, ay. And there's a boob shove.
Yeah, there's a really okay, you guys. So like, might be my favorite Xena and Gabrielle exchange in the history of the show, like to date. No joke. She's like, Gabrielle's like, is the plan ready? Xena's like asleep, and she just goes, huh? And Gabrielle goes, huh? What the fuck? It's perfect. I don't know what the hell. I love it so much. Huh?
Yeah, they really are married. They just communicate solely in sleepy noises.
But yeah, Gabrielle can't stop dancing. She's like, I just gotta dance, and then she gets boob shoved.
Yeah,
back
she's
down.
like solo grooving in the bed.
Yeah. And continues to do so as we go into the next scene.
Yeah. So, yeah, the next scene, now she finds a cobbler in the town because she's trying to get her shoes repaired. And the cobbler tells her there's going to be 3 days before they are fixed. And she's like, 3 days? What the fuck? And it's because
Pretty much. She's pissed with him, too.
Philippan the Reformer is coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, like, he's going to take time off to go look at him. That's why it's going to take 3 days. I don't understand why.
I thought he was
cobbler-
coming to town in 3 days.
No, I thought it was gonna. No, because that's why
This
she
was
gives.
so confusing.
No, the
to me.
shoes-
She's
gonna
the
take
shoes are
3
going to take
days.
3 days. That's why he gives her loners.
Gives her the clown elf shoes.
Does she ever wear those little shoes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't
she
even
does.
notice that. I was looking out for them.
Yeah, they are very peculiar.
They're really cute. Okay, I'm gonna have to
No,
watch
they are not.
the whole episode again for the little pink elf shoes.
Yeah. So as he's getting these loners, Gabrielle hears a beat. It's the blacksmith doing his work. So this is a little bit of a dancer in the dark moment, I thought.
Oh,
That's,
Xena did it first.
Yeah, so that's a really great movie by a very problematic man, Lars von Trier. Let's put a bunch in for him. And it's a wonderful performance by Björk, with music by Björk, and a lot of it is to do with just like beats being created, like music being created from just like everyday stuff. So to me, this was a little bit of that.
And it shows that, you know, you can't ban the urge to dance. You know, it's such an innate human thing. You hear music everywhere and your body reacts.
Yeah. So she's like starts kind of getting the groove, and then the guy comes back with her weird elf shoes and kind of blows it for her.
Oh, you could dance in those little elf shoes, Gabs.
So Philippan makes his entrance. He's
I
all-
love this veiled look that
Oh
he's
my God.
sporting at the beginning.
Well, yeah, gosh. So he's brought in on a litter. Some dudes are carrying him. And what do you think he looks like?
Some kind of ghost in a horror film.
Like a Victorian ghost?
Yeah, like a
Victorian
Victorian
beekeeper ghost.
Yeah,
yeah.
Victorian beekeeper ghost.
He looks wonderful, yes.
There's a bunch of costuming choices in this episode that I don't quite. I know have meaning, but I cannot pinpoint the meaning.
Yeah, what's the beekeeper part of this? What's the meaning there?
I think they just did this to like make him have this amazing entrance where you're like, who's under that thing? And then finally you see.
It's Autolycus! Xena sent a pigeon, and that's why he's here.
Express bird.
With smoking tail feathers.
Oh boy.
I love Bruce Campbell. Have I mentioned? Have I
Yes, you
mentioned that I
have.
love Bruce Campbell and Lucy Lawless in scenes together?
They are very magical.
Have I mentioned this is my number 2 ship?
Yeah, I mean, put a pin in it, but them at the end of this episode.
So he has come from Oman, as you mentioned, this was going to be mentioned, and he was like trying to get the crown jewels of like some whatever
Some
prince,
dumb king.
And okay, yet again, it's another episode with Autolycus. Why does it happen every time that he's like, oh boy, I try to steal things, but I can't because virtue is its own reward. Like, literally, there's been so many. Why is he still trying to steal stuff when he knows that he's not gonna?
It's true. I guess a guy's got to make a living by
But does he? I don't think he does.
No. Virtue is its own reward.
He was going to steal that stuff from the princess or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, for himself, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying that at this point, after so
you
many
think he
episodes of
shouldn't be doing it
Xena, he wouldn't be
anymore.
doing it anymore. Because every single time he learns a lesson.
What if it's just all a pretense, guys? We never see him steal stuff anymore. He always just claims he's in the process of doing it. Maybe he actually has a job as like an accountant.
No, because
And it's
Xena
like a
sent off that
secret.
letter to them.
Yeah.
Where he's doing the account completely correctly.
Yeah. He's
No.
just getting a wage normally.
Not to him. She sent the 2 birds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
she
right.
said the second
she
bird.
also warned the king of
Right.
his
She
plans.
knew that he was doing this somehow.
Yeah, how does she know?
She just knows.
Don't ask. Don't ask those questions. What?
So Philippine starts preaching, and he is a big old Southern preacher.
I love how Xena introduces him to the town as the reformer of warlords, dancers, and evil people.
I like the organ music.
That is pretty
Yeah,
accurate. For
yeah.
once, my Lucy impression is correct.
It is. I heard reverb on that when you said that as if it exists.
Yeah. You do feel like he's doing a very specific thing. You're like televangelist 1990s
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
situation.
I saw a lot of fan reviews from that time referred to someone named Swaggart, I think. So perhaps it is this particular televangelist from the 90s.
So he's preaching. He's saying how he's been where these people have been. He's been on a rocky road to Tartarus, which I believe is your debut album, Olivia?
Because I love Rocky Road ice cream.
No, just because you love to sing. That's
Oh,
your passion.
I do not understand that.
His rocky road to Tartarus led him to dancing. He danced. But then Calliope came and sat in his lap, which I thought was weird. And
It's a little
changed
bit of
him.
Autolycus coming in.
Yeah. So he's changed now. Praise Calliope.
Praise him. Praise him.
Wow.
So yeah, he kind of incites this town to a kind of Christian revival big tent thing. Like everybody's, at the point of fainting with the power of the spirit.
Right.
Which is interesting because he's talking about repressing all their deepest desires,
Right,
but he
yeah.
talks about that with such passion that he gets passion in return.
And everybody in that tent gets suckered, as Tara puts it, except for Telamon and his son. And Telamon leaves.
Yeah, Telamon is getting sulky.
That's how you know he's a really good guy.
Yeah, he goes back to his shop and starts like chopping up a leg of lamb, which I thought was an interesting touch. A little bit of violence to kind of contrast with the preacher working his wiles upon the town.
Xena finds out some backstory on Telamon. So he had another son, right? And I thought it was going to be like a big tragic story of like his son died in battle. He only has one son left. He's taking good care of him. But no, this other son just moved to Athens.
I think the other son's gay.
Uh-oh.
It's my theory.
Oh, boy.
Meanwhile, we have Philippon walking around town with his entourage that includes the magistrate. And Philippon's just going on and on about all the decadence that he sees everywhere all over town. he has this whole list of things he wants to forbid the town from doing, including singing, painting, and fancy embroidery.
Wow.
Which is going to be sad news for Xena, because we know that embroidery is one of her many skills.
Oh, man. He marches into Telemon's shop and does his, like, best art critic routine for the painting on the wall.
Which Telemon tells us is a painting of his hometown.
Yeah, that's a nice thing.
It's a nice thing to have on the wall of your shop. And it gives Telemon a history. He came to this town from somewhere else.
So what did he paint?
He painted 2 firm hills.
Twin Peaks.
And a cleft in that valley.
So yeah, boobies and a dick.
Yeah, boobies, a cleft, and a dick.
Yeah, there's like a little tower there.
Thrusting skyward.
The painting must be destroyed. Praise be.
Here, Philippon / Autolycus has a line, which is, extremism in the name of piety is no vice, which is this episode's take on a famous Barry Goldwater line, which is, extremism in the name of liberty is no vice. Barry Goldwater being a very famous conservative, father of modern conservatism. So that's definitely putting Autolycus's parody here, you know, not just a televangelist, but Christian right.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like this episode so much right now. It just feels like a nice thing to watch. Just as a balm on the world. Everybody should watch A Tale of Two Muses.
I mean, you know, the 90s were not so long ago, but it is amazing how relevant this feels, how much it feels like it's about the Arab Spring, and definitely the year 2017.
Well, I love the next scene, which is a very nice dance number by Tara.
Yeah, this is a song. It's very sexy.
I loved it.
I love the shots of her shadows on the wall.
Yeah.
I thought the choreography for this scene, like in general, was wonderful. So she is kind of standing by a candle or like a fire. It's a candle, right?
Candle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she kind of like moves her hand and sees that there's a reflection, like a shadow of herself on the wall, and starts like kind of playing with that. And there's no actual song that she hears.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. Unlike Gabrielle, who is creating music via sound, you feel like Tara is dancing without music completely.
Yeah.
She's dancing because she's inspired by the beauty of this visual,
Yeah.
which is a really cool way of getting someone to start dancing.
Right, and so it's like an internal music. It's like the music that she hears, and I thought it was really awesome. I really like this little song.
No.
It's called, what, Tara's Dance? Or
Yeah.
Tara's Dance?
Yeah, it's on the Liar Liar soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't catch that many of the lyrics, but certainly the main one about letting the spirit move
me, yeah.
move me, yes. Again, kind of tying it back to Christianity.
Right.
But also, yeah, the spirit of dance.
Yeah. I thought it was beautiful. Yeah, and Andros sees her dancing and kind of like joins. So now you have like two shadows.
Two shadows becoming one. Sexy dance.
This is the sexy dance.
At the end of it, Andros announces that he's leaving town, just like his brother, and he wants Tara to go with him. And they run away together. So romantic.
What do you think of Gabrielle's dance? It's the opposite of sexy dance.
I love that one. Her little cha-cha-cha dance.
Yeah.
I love it.
The epitome of sweetness and light.
It's so silly and
Xena
cute.
does not like it.
Yeah.
She's like, you're bringing attention to us. Please stop it. It's just so cute. I don't know.
So Tara and Andros make it from the village to that old dance hall, right? So that means that they're like on the
Which is weird. They're going to
outskirts.
escape
They're
off
gonna
that cliff.
I don't know.
The geography of this episode.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I did like that the little detail of how the entire ground is covered in footsteps.
From all the dancing.
I thought it was really cool.
It reminds me of, how you can follow
Foot-
those dancing
Foot
diagrams.
loose steps.
Oh, yeah.
all the
I
little
learned
feet.
a Newsies dance to one of those.
The little feet diagrams.
The musical Newsies.
Can you still do your dance?
No.
Well, Xena is waiting for them there, so they have been caught.
She gives Tara this very sanctimonious speech. It was weird. I was a little weirded out by it.
This is the all about the cute guy one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. She's just sort of like, well, of course, the cute guy's involved. I should have known. I was like, geez, Xena.
She also says that it's what cowards do when they're not willing to stand and fight for what they believe in.
And she says this with, like, a lot of weight in her voice. Like, yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It seemed to be, like, calling back to Forgiven, but then I thought about what Forgiven was about, and I was like, Tara never really did that. She was going to run away with the Bieber goon, but I didn't get the sense that it was, like, a cowardly flight. I don't know. It's a little. I think maybe freelancer Jillian needed to go back and watch Forgiven again.
I guess. I just don't really get why she wasn't rewritten by those who are not freelancers. Anyway, Xena guilt trips them to stay, basically. The saga of Gabrielle and her boots is resolved here when she gets her cobbled boots back.
I love how she whispers to herself, I like steel. It's really strange.
She's very strange in this episode. Anyway, she's got tap shoes now.
Yeah. And Autolycus has been sensing some pent-up frustrations there.
Ah, yes. Listen. No.
They need to be released.
No.
No.
Yeah, do we count this as subtext when the subtext it's implying is one in which Gabrielle isn't having sex with Xena?
That's what Autolycus is implying, but he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, I guess she's not if all Xena does is poop every night.
I mean, Jesus.
I mean, I'm glad Xena poops every night.
No, I mean, but
being regular is very important.
It seems like it's excessive.
I hate this.
So much Xena poop in an episode that should not be about Xena poop.
It was really not that much. You guys just keep bringing
Look,
it up.
a little bit feels like a lot after Sickness and Enough.
Gabrielle's dancing now.
She completes Autolycus' sentence. He's like, you just need to get... And she's like, dance! I just need to dance!
She does a funny little tap because that's what her boots are now. They are tap shoes. Personally, I think those are terrible cobbles, but, you know, that's just my opinion.
Like, yeah, that was not what she asked for at all.
Yeah, I feel like that's just her feet can't breathe in that.
Can you imagine if you brought in your, like, leather boots to be, like, resold and then you got back, like, just metal clamped onto them? I'd be like, what the fuck?
Okay, so what's the big plan?
The big plan is that Philippon is going to convince the town to let Xena drill all of their teenagers in military combat as a way of channeling all their repressed energy that they can't use to dance.
Right.
Sounds good.
Isafan is worried that this won't be popular with the public. I mean, the parents. The voters.
The voters. Yeah, this is where the episode takes a turn. And up until this point, you've thought that Isafan is really just this zealot.
Yeah.
But it turns out he's
an elected official?
Yes. He's a corrupt elected official who has only adopted this dogma of religion to keep himself in power.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
And also there's an election tomorrow, so he's very worried.
About the parents. I mean, the voters.
Yeah.
I love that we get this joke wrong every time. So Xena has all this stuff about, you want to see a real art? Dancing isn't an art. I'm going to show you the art of war. Dun, dun, dun. And Telamon sees this and is like, oh my god, this is the worst thing in the world. And he's right.
I love this sequence. It's really, really cool. There's just something, you know, that it's going to turn into this kind of actual dance thing once it starts going, and I like the transition into the drill, into the actual, like, more graceful
Yeah.
stuff was really cool to me.
Yeah.
I also love that they have, the drum beat, which is very military. But
Right.
as soon as you hear it, you're like, I want to dance. I just want to dance.
I want to dance. Tara and the rest of the kids march into the square, and they're like ready for their military service. And he's like, I gotta work alone. Like, I can't have people watching me. So he's like, okay, great. Clear the area. Let her do her thing.
Do we talk about the cute little bit where Istefan is talking to Autolycus and Gabs is doing a little jig over his shoulder?
No.
That is the cute scene.
Yeah, she can't stop.
She just can't stop. And Istefan keeps looking at her and she's
is
like,
being very not tactical.
Yeah.
Like, she's kind of ruining stuff. Like, Xena is not wrong. Where she's like, you are... Yeah.
I mean, I love seeing Gabs as this rebel. She just can't bear being forbidden from doing this thing.
Yeah, I do like that. Obviously, she has her small town backstory, so it's all it's bubbled up. And yeah, even that part where they're like doing the praise her, and Xena's like, play along, and she's like, no.
Yeah, I love it. And it's a little messed up that it seems like Xena has just come into this town with this plan where she's gonna bring in Autolycus, kind of being this guy who's even more insane than the person running the town. And, she doesn't tell anyone. Maybe she doesn't tell Gabs, even, that this is happening. Certainly Telemon she does not tell, because that's a part of her plan, is to not tell him. But it feels very manipulative that she's like, thanks, guy. Yeah, you're being so hospitable. Oh, you're my friend's new dad. I like you. I'm going to manipulate you. Just, really shamelessly. I'm going to make you think your town's going to the dogs.
Isn't that just classic Xena?
It is. Xena is really, I would not want to spend April Fool's Day with Xena. I feel like she would fuck you up.
So what is the secret, work that she has to do, with these kids here? What happens when all the eyeballs leave?
She demonstrates with her lovely assistant. She says those words.
Mm-hmm. It's a river dance.
It's a river dance.
Do you guys know that Riverdance started at Eurovision?
No.
Well, I mean,
That
it
fits.
was made popular.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was the intermission act in the early 90s. Yeah, and then that made the popularity of it was such that it was more popular than everything in the actual competition. And that's what made them be like, we're going to turn this into a big giant show and take it on tour.
I was into it.
I knew a girl in grammar school who did Irish step dancing, and I thought it was really cool.
Was Irish?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, my friend was obsessed with Michael Flatley, so I saw a lot of Riverdance and Lord of the Dance.
Oh, man. I forgot about Michael Flatley.
What
That's
is Chandler
Riverdance.
most afraid of?
So
His legs flail about as if independent from his body. Okay, I'm done.
So Gabrielle is using now her tap shoes for Riverdance purposes, and she's flailing her legs about
Independently
from her body.
She's pretty good at dancing. Someone in a review pointed out, and I was like, all right, fair. The last time we kind of saw her doing dancing was really early season 1. Do you remember anything in between of a dancing nature?
She's done little silly dances with random celebrating villagers.
Right. And how bad she was at being in that Amazon dance.
Oh yeah, the Amazon dance was really
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Anyway,
But
it's not bad now.
she was nervous. Maybe she just had performance anxiety.
Well, her Riverdance double is really good at it, so it's fine. Xena is very terrible at doing the splits,
Oh
apparently.
my god, I really hate this. Okay, I really love this episode, but can I just say one thing right here?
Okay.
Number one, there's absolutely no way on earth that Xena's going to do a split and it's going to hurt her that badly.
When she does all her fightings.
Yeah. It's it's so dumb.
I thought...
It makes me mad almost, where I'm like, why are you hurting?
I thought that
That's
she
ridiculous.
needed to poop again or something.
No! Stop it. I love how Gabrielle jumps over her though.
Yeah. That's
Like, that's really cute. But yeah.
I assumed she was teasing, like being like, "Doesn't this look impressive?"
No,
You think
she was, yeah. It was a
She was
very
in
bad,
there's a lot
it was a
of-
bad choice.
There is
Yeah.
a lot. It's aside from like the very, very end, which we'll get to. Like, there's a lot of just Lucy
Yeah,
in this.
there is a lot.
And I love her to pieces, but so, like, there are a few moments in this where I'm like, knock it off.
I mean, this is maybe
What's happening?
this is maybe the danger of having Michael Hurst there, who
And Bruce.
Encourages
and
this
Bruce,
shit,
right?
yeah.
Like, she's just so relaxed, she's so comfortable that
I love it, don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
Xena should not be quite that comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just like, there are a few moments where I'm like, Xena would not do this, not even in her happiest dancing moment. Like that, we'll get to it. But this was one of the moments where I was like, this is a silly reaction.
I have to say that this dance scene couldn't help but remind me that Lucy Lawless is not a very good dancer. I mean, I know she's not really dancing here, but it's noticeable, that she doesn't have a cool dancing double like
don't know,
Renee.
Well,
She's
I mean,
just
she's
there
doing
with
river
her
dance.
staff, yeah.
But, like, Renee was really good at all the other stuff,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
She's, like, into it, yeah.
Renee clearly can sell it, and
I think-
Lucy ain't trying.
I think there's a specifics of dancing on this show most of the time that like you don't like Olivia specifically, but I don't think it makes her a bad dancer.
Okay, I appreciate your defense of Lucy's dancing
Specifically because she
ability.
does like quite a bit of it, I feel.
She does. No, she's fearless. That's
In-
part. I like that she's not a great dancer and keeps dancing in the same way that I'm not a great singer, and yet I keep singing.
You just love it. So back in front of the parents, Xena demonstrates all their progress with the kids. They've done hand-to-hand combat, and she's going to be showing them some killing techniques tomorrow.
Ruh-roh.
Praise Calliope, guys!
Praise him! Praise him!
Telamon is not into this. And he says, my child is not going to learn how to kill. Teaching them to kill to take their minds off dance? Have you heard anything more ridiculous?
It's pretty ridiculous. So he announces his candidacy for town magistrate.
Whoa, yeah.
And this, like, patriotic music plays over it, which, when I say patriotic, I mean, like, straight on, like, what you'll hear, on American Election Day. Just like, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do.
Wow, yeah. So his platform is a platform of change because his other son left this
And he feels
stupid town.
that this is the death of the town, that if all their children don't feel welcome in this town and leave them, the town will die, which again feels very relevant to what's happening to a lot of blue-collar towns in the U.S.
So it's election day. Telamon makes his speech, and then Philippon gets up to speak for Istefan.
Little sidebar, I love the detail that Gabrielle is his speechwriter. Telemon's, that is.
Oh, yeah.
Really cute, and his speech is pretty good, and you're like, wow, Gabrielle has improved, but then he tells you about all the terrible lines of hers that he's cut out because they suck.
Xena has to tell her to let it go.
So as Philippon is speaking, there's an arrow.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I
And this is where I start to get like, what is happening with the plot?
Okay,
And it's not like set up enough in the
Yeah.
episode, especially
Istefan
whenever
is
this guy
bad, you guys. Shocker. He's
Yeah.
not just a corrupt non-zealot. He's also, like, willing to murder someone to stay in power. So he's an authoritarian. He's the worst.
Yeah, so Xena knocks the arrow out. She, like, backhands the arrow right out of the air. Istefan gets up on stage and orders Lycanus to search for the perpetrator.
You can search for the perpetrator right here, Lycanus,
Says Vera.
says Vera.
But the perpetrator is Lycanus. Oh my goodness.
I wish we had heard his name before.
He literally, Istefan is always like, Lycanus, do this and that.
It's not.
He does.
It's like, I mean, I know, but it's like not there. To the point where like you're at the end, you're like, who? That's just me.
It's a little baffling.
Well, the dude does not say anything. He
Yeah,
just flowers
Right.
sexily.
He doesn't have a line because then maybe you'd recognize him as Brother Goon.
Like, it might just be me, but I just always get to this part and I'm like, huh?
He's way more sexy as Lycanus.
I have to say, I was not in favor of them saying the name Lycanus more.
I know. It's a lot. I think we have now said it more than in the episode. So maybe we should stop.
So Xena accuses Istefan of having masterminded this whole assassination attempt.
Which he does.
She explains that he'll do anything, he'll lie, he'll murder, he'll brutalize your children.
What?
Holy shit! I mean,
Right.
I understand what she means, but holy shit.
It's a weird line out of context.
And
Yeah.
then Istefan is like, what are you talking about? Everything I've ever done in my life has been for the children.
Oh my God.
And Xena's like, oh yeah? Well, get a load of this if you like children.
Odd segue into the
Yeah.
final 6-minute long dance number
It's
that ends the episode.
Completely bizarre. So she snaps her fingers, and in come the dancing children.
Yep, and it's a dance. It's a big old
I
dance.
love this so much. It makes me so happy. Just me?
It's fine. It's a dance.
I love
It's
it.
good.
I do have something to say about this dance.
Okay.
I love that this episode at first seems like it's about to end in a big action scene the way a lot of Xena episodes do. We've just had the, kind of like Scooby-Doo moment where Istefan was unmasked as the villain that you knew he'd be all along. If not for you dumb kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo, whatever.
Meddling.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And basically we're ready for Lycanus and Xena to face off. But
Yeah.
rather than that happen, rather than going into the violence that we know is how Xena solves problems, the show kind of takes this left turn. And so it's like, you don't need to use violence. You don't need to use those military skills to save the day. You can actually just save the day via dance. Which I thought was this really beautiful message for
Yeah.
Xena. To just be like, you guys don't need to watch that violence this week. You're gonna just watch dance, and that's gonna be enough for you.
Is it enough?
They do kick Lycanus in
Yeah,
the face,
they
though.
do.
Yeah, at one point, but it's part of the dance.
It's part of my ship, the dual face kick. Autolycus and Xena.
But yeah, I feel like in this season that is so much about, like, what is the alternative to violence?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. This episode has an answer. So I think
Dance.
that's really interesting.
Yeah, the rest of Xena is just going to be dance.
Just dance.
Right, so this big dance number is happening. There's a lot of, like, little moments with everybody. As you mentioned, Katie, your
Yes.
ship, they get a little...
They are so great in this.
Okay, we got to talk about this moment, because this moment was, like, the most magical thing I've ever seen. Like, we kind of haven't talked about it that much, but Autolycus looks older and kind of awkward in his Philippon costume.
Okay.
Like, he looks goofy.
Mm-hmm.
But before he starts his dance, he, like, rips off the whole headpiece thing and undoes the top button on his collar and ruffles his hair and just looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
Just like in one shot, he goes from looking full goofy to being like full Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
But like not a problematic Errol Flynn, like a beautiful Errol Flynn. And I honestly like I lost my breath. I was like, who is that?
Yeah, man.
So the power of Bruce Campbell, it's real.
Yeah. You just reminded me of how I forgot to say that his whole, like, beekeeper Victorian ghost outfit also reminded me of Q from TNG.
Oh, that seems like they may have been
But as a
thinking
beekeeper.
of that. But as a beekeeper
Q the
specifically.
beekeeper, yeah. Q the beekeeping Victorian ghost. Okay, so he is sexy when he's not that look.
Surprise!
Yeah. I have to second Katie's thing. I mean, that ship is so good.
It's amazing.
I really felt the vibes.
It's nuts. They are so good in a frame. together.
Yeah.
And I love, her reaction when he sweeps her into the dance. And
She's so happy.
She's happy, but also, a little awkward. And it's incredibly sweet.
And this still feels like Xena to me, which is great. And then I love the part where he, like, picks her up and is, like, spinning. Mm-hmm. And then it keeps editing and reversing the order. And then it looks weird, but it's really fun.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, this must be, like, after he, as Philippon, is like, oh, I've been touched by Calliope again!
The scales have fallen from my eyes!
Dancing is good! And everyone's
the
like,
goddess of not dance.
Yeah.
Right, the goddess of not dance, their prize is actually the goddess of dance, except she still isn't the goddess of dance, but okay, whatever.
He's also so cute with that little kid, that one.
I love when he dances with the little kid. But we should talk about all the pairings. We have Tara and Andros, of course. But then you also have very sweetly Tara and Telamon, who do a little dance.
No, he's not father of the bride. I was going to say, it's like, it's almost like he's totally going to be her father.
Yeah, it did. I mean, this whole dance at the end felt a bit like, the, like, post-wedding celebration. Like, that dance floor with all the different iterations of couples, some of which are really unexpected. So we have, Xena and Autolycus. Later, Xena and Gabs. You also have Gabs and Tara. Really cute moment. And I thought a little sexy.
Whoa.
And you have a bunch of men dancing together, both as couples and then in the conga line.
Oh, right, the conga line.
So, you have these same-sex pairings on the dance floor as well, which I thought was great. This isn't just, a celebration of heteronormative dancing. This is dancing as human expression.
Well, that goes back all the way to the greater good with our same-sex couple dancing at the end there.
That's right. Xena shakes her booty. Actually, she kicks Lycanus in the face, and then, like, immediately the momentum of that turns into the booty shake.
I fucking hate her weird chicken dance. I'm like, Lucy, what is happening?
What do you hate more, chicken dance or splits?
Both. Hate them both. I don't like them both.
Splits
but
is worse.
Splits is worse because it doesn't make any sense that, like, she's in pain from it.
Yeah.
Like,
she does that stuff all this time. She does even more ridiculous, like, gymnastics. So why would the split hurt her?
Chicken dance is funny, and her face is ridiculous, and I love her. But I don't think it's a move Xena would do.
No.
The move Xena would do is that when Gabrielle's dancing around her and she looks annoyed and then grabs her and then does a giant flip in the air.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Oh, that flip. Yeah, that's kind of the Xena equivalent of that Autolycus moment with the hair ruffle. You just suddenly go, oh, Xena.
I mean, the flip is just glorious.
But her and Gabrielle are really cute. And they're running around and clapping and dancing and just being ridiculous.
And the crowd is clapping, and you do just feel like in the end it's a celebration of Xena and Gabs. They're the final dancing couple. Everybody's like, yay, we love you. And we have this slow motion fade out.
Michael Hurst was like, cut, and then there's like 20 seconds of extra footage that is actually the end of this episode. Yeah. For sure.
You can see the actors breaking character.
Nobody can tell me otherwise that, like, that whole stretch, like, when they start to, like, hug, it's just, there's something, it is the acting weird thing of people's faces that is, I don't know, I don't get it, I don't know what actors do, I don't understand.
Magic, cue, Patrick Stewart gif.
I cannot be, like, convinced otherwise that, like, the last 20-25 seconds is not, like, they thought they were done.
I mean, they were done. Like, they just chose to use
the footage. Yeah. Like, it was still rolling. Yeah.
And, like, it's
but that's
slowed down.
Lucy and Renee. That's their faces.
Yeah, probably because a second later they're like, okay, Michael, what now?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you could just, you could just see it. And anyway, it's so cute. Love a little freeze frame.
Yeah, and it felt like we'd suddenly been given a ticket to the cast party. You know?
Yeah,
I liked seeing them dancing there.
Because it's, like, totally, obviously, like, a great time. on set. I'm sure it was really hard to like
It's a
do
lot-
all
a
this
lot of
stuff
dance,
because
yeah.
like blocking all this shit, learning all this shit. It's crazy, but like obviously it was very fun.
Yeah, but that was the end, so they were happy. They probably were like, "That felt good, Mike."
did it. We did it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So did we.
Yeah, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It was the best of episodes. It was
Not the worst.
not the worst of
Yeah.
episodes.
It was the danciest, except for the musicals.
Except for the other two dancing ones. Maybe they could bring the war song from Liar Liar up in here.
Oh my gosh, it would fit. Yeah.
You know. Anyway, it's just a nice episode that I enjoyed a lot, and I like the message, and it's a necessary message.
I
Yeah.
completely
Repression
agree.
is bad.
A Good
Violence.
Day was so, soul killing that then to just have this joyous episode that is still very plugged into those ideas about violence and repression.
Yeah, I think this is like a deceptive episode because like I think that it can easily be written off, but I really like that there's so much going on in it. Right down to the like scene about the art that they thought that he was criticizing as obscene. There's a lot going on in this episode.
Yeah, that you
And-
can
and-
see sex everywhere, and maybe that's because it is about sex. The subtext of his painting.
Yeah,
I guess, yeah, but that's not what I meant.
Where's the girl he left back in that village?
yeah. I also really like that Tara came back just because of how so many of their really one-off random characters, like Dirty Six, they bad and they don't come back. But hey, I like Shiri.
I
She
like her
back.
a lot. Yeah, and I like that she gets this happy ending.
Yeah.
Forgiven was a little more uncertain. I mean, obviously she asked to be forgiven. You had the sense that she turned over a new leaf, but you didn't really know what would become of her. So it's nice to see that she's found a place for herself,
Yeah.
and it feels like a good place. It doesn't feel like a lazy kind of like, okay, character, like we're parking you here, bye.
Yeah, they
I
gave
was
her
happy.
a really good place. Yeah. So
This is maybe a backhanded compliment, but I really like this
Then
episode.
is it a compliment?
No, it may sound like a backhanded compliment, but I assure you that the front of my hand is facing forward. I like how little plot there is compared to some of the recent comedies we've had with complicated, especially those Armis and Foster
Yeah,
episodes.
I hate when it gets so plotty.
They're so hard to follow. They kind of just throw so many things at you so that you're like, okay, you're trying to distract me. and here there aren't really all that many distractions. It's about what it's about.
Yeah.
It's still very funny and light and charming. But yeah, it doesn't try to overwhelm you with plot. And I appreciate that. I appreciate its simplicity.
Agreed.
agreed. This is just a nice episode.
Yeah. Season 4, consistent. Like, really, not that many clunkers.
Yep.
Oh, just
Some.
a couple.
Yeah.
Not that many.
Yeah, certainly.
four is
Yeah,
good.
it's an amazingly consistent season, which I'm sure we're going to
Yeah.
say quite a few times as we go through. But
Yeah. Well, in case
Impressive.
you were wondering why we did this one by itself, it's because the season is so full of episodes. Then like we're probably going to talk about for forever. Yeah.
yeah, every other episode is an episode that we're going to talk about for 2 hours, and it means that the ones in between those 2 hour episodes
Get
also,
an hour and a half.
also get their own episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make up for it in season 5. We'll do like 5 episodes per one podcast. Okay.
All right, so we did this one, and we've danced on through it, and it is over now.
Yes, it is.
So you can follow us and all the stuff.
Yes, check out our website at xenawarriorpodcast.com. We are on Patreon, patreon.com/xenawarriorpodcast. If you are interested in seeing more extra content and listening to our podcast about Lucy Lawless, who is so great. Go check out the Patreon. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, where you can also rate us with stars and leave reviews. We would be so appreciative of anything that you do over there. It really, honestly, helps us out, and like we love hearing from you. You can also listen anywhere else that podcasts can be listened to, including Google Play, Stitcher, stuff like that. We're on Twitter at Xena Warrior Pod, and Facebook and Tumblr, Xena Warrior Podcast.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast!
podcast!